What's going on, guys? Today, all in day 6. Let's go over today's price action. So, if we looked on the daily, alright, or not, Pro, there it goes. We look on the daily. Price had taken out this significant low. If we look on the 4-hour, there's this big gap, weekly opening gap that I had mentioned yesterday that I thought price was going to go into. Sweeping this as well, retracing within this 4-hour gap right here, right? And it respected the gap, breaking structure, so I'm thinking bullish. I'm thinking it was going to do the same things yesterday, but I didn't know it was going to make as big as a move as it did today. So you see, you get a kind of a high time frame SMT at these lows and at these lows, right? So we can go and scale down to the 1-hour. We've got our targets. Price was really set up just like yesterday. Really was. We had, if you look at yesterday's, London swept, and all we were looking for was price to move higher, and it did. Now if you look today, London swept, pre-market was already ripping, so I was looking for continuation. If you look on the 15-minute, we see price rip, and we get this retracement right here in this 15-minute gap, and on ES we get a 5-minute retracement, if I remember. Yep, we get this 5-minute retracement. So ES is respecting this 5-minute gap, and NQ is respecting this 15-minute gap. Now you can see right here, this 1-minute SMT from this low to this low, and then we can go on ES and look from this low up to this low. So ES was leading. ES respected this gap, and we can scale down to the 1-minute now. Down on the 1-minute, we look right here at the SMT that got created, that got formed. It was ripping. It ripped up past this inverse fair value gap. I was looking for a 79% extension right here, so it would have been this candle right here would have been my entry, and stops down here, TP, and we could have targeted the weekly opening gap here. We could have targeted previous day, right? You know, but my full TP would have been up here at that gap. We could have targeted this high, this 4-hour high, if we weren't sure. Could have targeted this 4-hour high. All these stacked up liquidity along here. This trend line liquidity was beautiful, and you know, seeing this today, knowing where price wanted to go, I still didn't enter. Let me rephrase, I did enter. And this goes back to day 1, goes back to day 3, where I did enter, or I did hesitate on an A+ setup. Today was an A+ setup. Today was easily an A+ setup. We got our sweep, filling orders. We got the retracement right here on both indexes, getting the SMT. Even if it's on a low time frame, it made this big of a move. And to have these kind of targets up here, I mean, I don't know, what I was thinking in the moment was fear. And it was fear that I had entered prematurely, because I did enter. I entered on ES at that specific candle and closed pretty much right after, before the next candle could form, or when the next candle formed. And I had closed purely based on fear, purely based on how much I was risking, how much pretty much how much I was risking, and that fear led me to miss out on this, and that fear led me to not execute when my trade said to, when my strategy said to, and that ultimately led to me missing the move. And it doesn't make me feel very good about that. I feel pretty disappointed in myself, to be honest. And it's just like, day one and three, like, I said this over and over again, and y'all can go back to the videos where I did say the exact same thing I was struggling with. Was entry. I was struggling with me entering when I see my strategy, and this happens time and time again. Yesterday, I had thought I had broken through that struggle I was having, that mental block I was having, because I did enter on my strategy. But when it came down to it, when I saw this, something clicked in my head, and it was some type of like PTSD from yesterday, and I got scared, and I closed the position, and then right after that, price is just ripping. So as much as it sucks that I missed out on a big day, and that could have really sent my account to, give me a buffer, because right at this moment I have $300 in drawdown left, and then my account's blown. So, seeing a setup like this would have taken me to the next level, would have get me one step closer to that payout, and because of me and my psychology, I wasn't able to capitalize on it. I wasn't able to do what I said I was going to do. And it's really heartbreaking. It's really demotivating, if that. But despite all of it, this is a sign from God that I'm just not ready. I'm not ready to become profitable yet, because I haven't built myself into the person that is able to execute on a trade, and plus to be patient, to be disciplined to my strategy. And it's a matter of combining all those things together, because I've went through the cycles of being impatient, I've went through the cycles of being disciplined to my strategy, I've went through the cycles of having too much risk, all the necessities of becoming a trader. And when it came down to the execution, this is the next step to overcoming this. And that's the way I see it. This is the next step to overcoming the next obstacle, the next part of my psychology that I need to conquer. I'm not saying that I'm going to be perfect from then on and then out for the rest of my life, because that's just not simply how it works. But this is the next step to further my journey and further my personal growth. So, as much as it sucks, man, it's part of the game, and I'm playing it, trying to follow all the rules. And when I can't execute on a rule, I suffer the consequences, just like today. But yeah, I wasn't very happy about that. I pretty much got off right after. I was like, I'm not gonna chase this, and it really just sent me over the edge. Like, I'm sitting here looking for a trade. I'm like, I can catch the retracement, but I didn't want to be greedy. I didn't want to. I could have caught something here, and I did see that. At the same time, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stick to my rules. I missed it. I'm not gonna chase. So hopefully, this is the next step to everything coming together. The next step in my life, the next step in my journey, the next step in my personal growth. And God has a path for me, and this is just part of it. This is the obstacle that I have to overcome at this current time, in this current moment. So, to any of y'all that had caught this, good for you. Because it takes a lot of discipline, a lot of patience, you know, not a lot of will to execute, to have a lot of conviction in your strategy, and that's where it really went wrong today, I think. And I wasn't trusting my strategy, and that's what it comes down to sometimes, is that I just got to trust my strategy. And I've back tested hours and countless of hours of my strategy, and I don't know, just something is stuck up in here. I gotta get it out. So enough said, guys. Today was inevitably a loss in my journey within myself, but not a loss on the charts, not a loss on the numbers. If y'all took a trade, I hope y'all caught this, because this is generational wealth here. This was some astronomical numbers for sure. But anyways, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.